Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 29th. We're going to jump right in here, Leo. You start with this buffalo. It says, the abundant universe will provide, and this dog spirit that says, be loyal to what you love, which is definitely true for you. But I do feel that there could be some abundance coming in for you this week, which is nice. I think Leo needs it, or, Leo deserves it at this time. So, whatever you've been loyal to could be providing abundance as well. I do feel it's a good time for Leo to stick to something. I'm pretty sure I said this to you recently. I could be wrong, but I think it was in your reading where I was saying, it would be a good time to stick to a project, something that you're working on, and giving it time to work. Sometimes I think we need to do that, and that's basically what I would do here. In your first row for your current general energies, you have the Six of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the Four of Swords. So the Six of Swords, of course, is a card of moving on to calmer shores and heading towards some sort of improvement, which is good with the Ten of Wands here because, the Ten of Wands can say you've been carrying a heavy burden for a long time and you need to release it. And so, I feel for a lot of you that you are, moving forward, or you're moving on to something that's going to be an improvement in your life. I feel like some of you don't, it's like you don't see the improvement yet. They are still in the choppy waters. It's like sometimes I think we need to give an improvement time. I don't know why that is popping into my head as so important for you here, Leo, but it is. I don't know. It is. It's just popping into my head as very important that you give something time. This could also be an improvement. This could just be an improvement that you're making in your life, right? And so it's like, sometimes those improvements they just take time, and it's like sometimes something isn't like an overnight cure, and it's like I don't know why that's popping into my head so much, but it basically it is. Same thing with money as well. It's like if you've been working on a business, or if you've been working to do something to improve your business, it's like you're building a lot of energy, steam behind the scenes, and it's like eventually that steam is going to release. It's like eventually something is going to take off, and I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just feel like I really need to encourage you to stick to something here. It's popping into my head. It could be personal, if you're making personal improvements or working on yourself or whatever. Again, I think you need to give it time to develop, and it's popping into my head as very important. You have the Ten of Wands. Again, carrying a heavy burden. Maybe this is why, sometimes I think, obviously, if we're carrying a heavy burden, we want to release it and quickly. And so it's like if you're not, then, that could be a little bit of a challenge. But, he's almost at his home right here. He's about to put that burden down. And, really, I personally like the Ten of Wands. Those 10 wands are his harvest. He's about to, he planted those 10 wands. He's going to get a result from those 10 wands. But he is burdened. So, again, maybe this is what you're experiencing. It's almost like you're waiting for that release. You're waiting for something to release in your life, and I feel you are very close, and you should not give up. You have the Four Swords. Four Swords resting, relaxing, recovering, or healing. Again, I can't say too much, but again, if you're dealing, this could be a health thing as well that needs more time. Again, obviously, I'm not a doctor, so do not take this as medical advice. Go listen to your freaking doctor. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I do. And so, again, obviously, but, it's like something might just be taking a little bit of time, like I've already said. So, I would give it time, whatever it is, according to your doctor. With the Six of Swords, you have the Emperor here. Yeah, pretty good. Emperor is taking control of an opportunity. It's almost like you already have taken control of an opportunity, and that could also be what's taking time here, Leo. So I would just, keep doing what you're doing. I really feel this is your energy. Yes, I understand that this is Aries, but, you can embrace any energy you want. So the Emperor is driven, focused, ready to take advantage of opportunities. I think all those things would be good for you to work with this week. All those energies that I just mentioned. I would actually say until the beginning of the year, really, until March, basically. And, I think that would be very beneficial. It's it's kind of funny because, this year, I feel like this year didn't really start until May or June. That's when we cleared all those retrogrades. It's next year kind of doesn't really start until March. Really at the beginning of March. So we're kind of getting an earlier start than we did this year to next year. And, again, working with the Emperor type energies till March might be good for you. With the Ten of Wands, here you go. You showing up here as the sun, which is great. The sun makes the entire reading more positive. And the sun also kind of shines a light on something. I always say the sun to me is like a spotlight in a reading. So it is clearly, as I said, very important that you see something through to the end, that you don't give up on some sort of change or habit that you're developing, or, it's like some sort of improvement that you're developing. I just feel like it's like you're not seeing the results yet, but you are building momentum, behind the scenes. And I feel that's what Leo needs to realize is like, yeah, it's like maybe you're not there where you want to be yet, but you will get there if you don't quit, right? And the sun is really saying that. With the Four of Swords, yes, things will change. Like if you are asking, will things change? Yes, is what this card is saying. Things are going to improve. Things are going to move forward. The Wheel of Fortune is really about doubling down on successes and kind of removing friction, which actually you have the Eight of Wands here. I always say that the Eight of Wands is my card of creating a slip and slide in life, right? I think life, that's how we should look at life. I think we should be looking at life and saying, how can I make this smoother? It's like nothing in life is perfect, but, even the crappy situations, you can do things to improve them or make them better, even if it's only in a small way. And it's like the more wins that we stack like that in life, the better life gets, or at least that's been my experience. So, again, I'm a big fan of like looking at things that are causing friction and saying, how can I make this smoother, better, or how can I completely eliminate things that have caused friction in my life, right? And that's basically what those two cards want you to do. That is how you increase your luck as well with the Wheel of Fortune. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Wake Up card here, Leo. It says awareness, self-control, and transition. You have this danger. It says warning signs, fight or flight, or distress. Again, we really need to pay attention this year. I literally said this at the beginning of the year. Again, I don't like making these predictions, but I said two things at the beginning of the year. You can go back to my second live, I think I did, with Devin Dewar this year. I literally said, I'm not getting on a plane this year, and I'm not going to large crowds. Literally that night, you can go look at the comments on that one, was when the first plane crashed, when the helicopter crashed into a plane, right? Like literally that night after I did that reading, all the comments will prove that, right? I predicted that. And, I don't think I need to say much about large crowds. So, again, I would just pay attention. If your gut feels weird, don't do it. I mean, even this year, I was supposed to go on a trip with my brother. And I was just like, I just don't, we shouldn't go, right? I just felt weird about it. And it's like, we really need to trust those gut instincts this year. And so I would continue to trust that. If you feel like you shouldn't, I'm not saying something bad will happen, but I'm just saying, if you feel like you shouldn't do something, really trust it. And, I think everybody needs to do this for obvious reasons. Again, I think your awareness is increasing. You have the Justice card, the Eight of Wands, and the Strength card. The Justice card, of course, is cause and effect. And again, with the Sun, the Eight of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, I would definitely be paying attention to what's working. It just seems to me like the more you double down on things that work, the better. And I know that sounds obvious, but it is pretty freaking obvious, right? And so that's basically what I would do with the Justice card, is do what works in your life, and things will work out better. You have the Eight of Wands, which, again, I think for a lot of you is about creating that slip and slide in life. I'm pretty sure you get the Eight of Wands with me a lot. I think it's you. It might be someone else, but I'm pretty sure it's you. Because I'm always saying to you, Leo, that the Eight of Wands is about like picking a point in the future of something you want to accomplish, and then you just point at that point. You just literally, all those 8 wands are pointing in one direction. They're not pulling in 2 directions. And maybe that's been a challenge for you for a while, is kind of like being unsure, or dealing with uncertainty or something like that. It is popping into my head. The Eight of Wands is quick success, so there could be some quick successes coming in for you here with the Eight of Wands, if you focus in one direction. The Eight of Wands also says that we shouldn't worry too much about the order. Those 8 wands are all in a different position on the card. Sometimes with the Eight of Wands, I feel that we can think that things have to follow a specific order, but really they don't. Really, it doesn't matter how something happens in your life. And sometimes I think the Eight of Wands says, if something happened, if you have a certain plan that you're going to follow for your business, it's like if something happens before something else, it's like that doesn't mean it's not working. It just means you have to keep going. So, I don't know, it's popping into my head. Don't worry so much about the order. You have the Strength card, which again is you. So you show up here twice, actually 3 times, because you also show up on the Wheel of Fortune here. So again, whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength. I kind of feel that it's time for you to like show off your strength here, Leo. It's like you've learned a lot over the years, especially right now. You have Pluto in your opposite sign. Pluto is power, and Pluto is how we take power, how we use our power in life, and it's showing up in your opposite sign. So it's going to be more important for you over the next like 20 freaking years than for everybody else except for Aquarius, right? So we go up to the Three of Pentacles here, and the Three of Pentacles is about putting something on display. He is putting his work on display here. It could be your work, it could be yourself, it could be your mindset, it could be anything, but it's like time to show off, which you're freaking Leo. You're pretty good at that. With the Justice card, you have the Four of Swords. Yeah, healing. I was getting something about healing. Again, people always ask me why I don't read about health, and it's illegal. That's why for tarot readers to read about health, especially on YouTube, definitely a bannable offense, right? So I can't say too much about it, but what I would say is a good time to work on health, good time to improve your health just in general. The Four of Swords can also be hoping and praying for something. And with the Justice card, I feel it's saying like a little like the universe knows that you've asked for something. Is kind of what I feel like saying. And I feel like the Justice card is saying like now it's time to do things to tilt the scales in your favor. And it's like a numbers game. Life is a numbers game, right? And so I feel it's time to like start taking action towards something you've been praying for or asking for, basically. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I mean, there will be things that you have to walk away from to lighten the load, obviously, which is what this reading is asking you to do. And, it is like we are not in a very black or white time. We have Uranus and Gemini, and which is like we have to, is a million different perspectives at once. But what I will say is I feel like as far as creating improvements in your own life is concerned, it is very simple. It is like maybe more simple. And I think we all do this. We all overcomplicate things, including me, especially me, right? And I know that I shouldn't do it, but I try not to, but, I still do. And so it's like, I think it is very black or in white. It's like there are things that aren't working. There are things that are working, and it's just, you just have to do more of the stuff that works. And of course, we all always have obligations, things we don't want to do. But it's like, how can you make those things better? With the Strength card, you have the Page of Wands. Yeah, more fun. This is going to come up for all fire signs this week, I guarantee it. Probably for the next couple years at least. You have Saturn. Saturn's retrograding in Pisces, but it has been in Aries. And it will move back into Aries in February of next year. But I think that Saturn energy could be very serious for fire signs. So, and then you have the Three of Pentacles. This lady right here has polka dots on her cloak. Polka dots in the tarot can say you're probably taking things too seriously. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't take things too seriously, but it just means any opportunity that's being presented to you, anything that you're doing, if you could just make it a little bit more playful, it might might lighten it up the energy a little bit. Next, in the area of what's messages from your future self, you have this luck is on your side. Yes, Wheel of Fortune. We are in a time where we are creating our own luck. And you also have this card that says a new start is coming. Yes. Anything new that you want, sure, I would definitely start it. But again, I think really if I were you, Leo, the thing that I would be focusing on is creating as much luck as possible and putting yourself in situations where you can get lucky. It's like one of those things, like, let's just pretend life is a competition, right? It's like if you enter into more competitions, obviously you're giving yourself more chances to win. And so eventually you will. And technically you're increasing your luck, even if you lose a lot, right? And so, yeah, that's basically what I would be doing. I would be doing things to increase your luck. It's like, if you have a YouTube channel, if you post more videos, eventually you're going to create a banger and you're going to win, right? You have the King of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Swords, and something else here, the Two of Pentacles as well. So a lot of your future self really wants to talk in this reading. The King of Swords is a card of knowledge and wisdom. Queen of Cups is about following your heart. Sometimes I do think that there clearly can be a conflict between your head and your heart, which is kind of like how I'm reading this right here intuitively. That's not really what this would mean, but sometimes I think our head can say, that doesn't make sense, like what your heart is telling you to do, right? It's, I think a perfect example is like I talk to tons of people and they have hobbies and they're like, I wish I could do this as a living. I'm like, well, you can't. And they're like, no, I can't. And they give me a bunch of logical reasons why they can't create money based off their hobby. And then I'll give them a bunch of reasons of how they can't, right? And it's like, that's what I feel here. It's like maybe you have an idea that you would really enjoy doing in your life, or something that would bring more enjoyment into your life, but maybe you're trying to logic it into existence instead of just being like, oh, I could do this, but like looking at the ways you can. And so I feel it's a time for you to like follow your heart. You have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles says teamwork makes the dream work. It is an excellent time for you for teamwork, especially with, Pluto in your opposite sign in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is pretty much anything that benefits the collective, and, anything you can do to like team up with other people is just going to probably help you find success faster. I definitely feel it's time for you to show off, to show off. Sorry, I'm losing my voice today. But, it's like, I feel like you need to brag more. It's like how you, and, especially for those of you that have a business, like how you position things, I think is going to be very important. Like maybe you need to learn marketing, or something, and I think how you present things is going to be important, especially like, let's say you're submitting a, what do you freaking call that? A resume, right? It's like maybe you need to brag about yourself more in whatever you're doing. And I definitely get that energy off the Three of Pentacles. Next, you have the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. Again, Two of Pentacles can be like work hard, play hard. Three of Swords can be heartbreak, sadness. Three of Swords really about forgiveness. It's really a card where those swords are in your own heart, and you have to remove those swords from your heart so that you can heal. And again, it's an excellent time for healing. We just had that eclipse in Virgo, which is really good, I think, for healing in general. And again, I would just take time to do it. You have plenty of time. Eclipse seasons last for like 6 months, so you have a lot of time for healing. Two of Pentacles after the Eight of Wands, right? In this diagonal here, we have the Eight of Wands to the Two of Pentacles. This is definitely simplification, right? Taking things that are complex in your life and simplifying them. Two of Pentacles, he's spinning plates. He's trying to do too much. But, what I would ask you is like, where can you be effective in life? And that's what you should be focusing on. With the King of Swords and the Queen of Cups, you have the Three of Wands. It's like you have to expand your heart, right? You have to kind of like expand out into the world. I feel you have to try things. It's almost like the reading is asking you to try things that you think won't work, but your heart is telling you they will. This could be like a hobby, a business. It could be something for your healing or something for fun or whatever. But, it's almost like it's asking you to at least try those things, even if you don't fully commit. Because I think what you discover might just surprise you here, Leo. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is, being willing to be spontaneous, right? Taking advantage of spontaneous opportunity, doing things from a spontaneous perspective, would be a good idea with the Knight of Wands. And, that's basically what I would do with the Knight of Wands, is being willing to be more messy, maybe. I do think being messy is a challenge with, we also have the South Node in Virgo. The problem with the South Node in Virgo is it makes us all want to be perfect, which doesn't exist, right? So we have to be willing to take the risk of being messy or making a mistake, or, we have to take the risk of being criticized, That's also Pluto in Aquarius, by the way. Pluto in Aquarius is like the risk of attention. It's the risk of, if I speak up and speak my mind, are people going to criticize me or make fun of me or tell me I'm stupid or whatever, right? And so it's like we have to take those risks here. With the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Swords here, you have the Queen of Swords. For those of you that want love, you could be fearing a future heartbreak that won't happen. Like, I would get out of your head in love, for sure. Not really, obviously not really a love reading, but if you want it, I would... I think this is encouraging you to be open to it, not telling you what to do, but I would open up. The Queen of Swords is also good for clarity. She only has clouds halfway up her body on the card, so a lot of you could be getting clarity on something this week, which is good. It does seem to be one of those weeks. Like, a couple of signs have had these readings that have said, like, oh, you're going to get the answers you need, so it could just be in the energy. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Birds of a Feather card and this Higher View card, which also has a bird on it. I'm always saying to you, Leo, that you should be zooming out at this time. Like, I think Leo is the number one sign that gets the message that they should kind of, look at their whole life and realize like what they can accomplish. You might be thinking, oh, I can't do this or that or the other thing. But I think if you put it into perspective and, see everything you have done, it will make whatever you're thinking about doing a lot easier. The Birds of a Feather card is obviously, about the people you surround yourself with. So it would be, surround yourself with winners here, Leo, at this time, and you'll probably find yourself winning a lot more. You have the Two of Swords, Judgment, and the Ten of Swords. Two of Swords, like this or that thinking, but in the area of the good stuff, it would say that you are finding other solutions to accomplish things that you want to accomplish. I always say, this is my card of third place solutions. She's thinking this or that, but there's like a new solution behind her, that island that exists behind her. And she needs to go to that island because, things might be very different over there. Her life might completely change over there, but probably for the better. So, that's what's coming up. I also feel that you are, she has this blindfold on, and blindfolds represent needing to trust your intuition. But, coming up in the good stuff, I feel like you are. You have the Judgment card. Judgment is like a wake-up call. You have that card that says wake up. It says awareness. The sun can bring awareness to us on something. And so I feel like you are gaining awareness on like what is creating a heavy burden in your life with that sun and the Ten of Wands. It's like you're realizing maybe what has held you back, or you're realizing things that have held you back in your life in the past. And you could be, entering into a new time where you're releasing those things, or it's like you're moving past those things that have held you back for a long time. The other thing I'm getting here, Leo, is like I feel like you're getting a lot of messages, but not like listening to the messages maybe, even though it's showing up in the good stuff. But, one thing I will say is that maybe you are finally listening to those like messages that you're receiving, which obviously would be a good thing. You have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with in your life. He is making a symbol right here with his hand, and that symbol represents a blessing. And so the Ten of Swords in the good stuff especially can say that you are experiencing a blessing in disguise, or you are seeing that something is a blessing in disguise in your life. And it's probably something you're walking away from or releasing, probably responsibilities that you don't need with that Ten of Wands. So again, definitely a good sign. With the Two of Swords, you have the Page of Pentacles. It's like Page of Pentacles is, in some ways, it is speaking your mind. It is, saying what you really want to say, not holding back, right? And right here with the King of Swords and the Queen of Cups and this and the Three of Pentacles needing in the Eight of Wands, this is saying like speak up, right? It's that, or at least that's what it's saying to me. And, the thing is that we have Saturn in Aries. Well, Saturn is in Pisces right now, but like I said, in February, it will move back into Aries. But, Saturn in Aries is loud, very loud. And so, but, number one, that can be bad, but it can also be good. So I think you need to share your thoughts more here, Leo, or you need to, speak up. Like, don't be afraid of rocking the boat is what I feel here. With the Judgment card, you have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands can be conflict or competition, but here, this could be you kind of rising above the competition, especially if you're doing something like in a competitive field in work or business or your career, you could be kind of like rising above the competition. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Devil. I think that a lot of Leos have been working on, things that have held them back, or toxic people in their life. Like, I feel like you've dealt with a lot of that for sure. And, it just seems to me like you're finally seeing, like, what is toxic. You can't make this up. You have this arrow. Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands was traditionally the arrows of love, was what the Eight of Wands represented. But it could be the arrows of anything. This says you're on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. Yes, you need to pick a point and aim at it and make it your single focus, right? Whatever it is that you want in your life. You have this goldfish. It says increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. Yeah, I really do think that Leos have a couple of good years coming up for money, especially if you're doing something like a personal project, something creative, something that you're creating, really good for finances for Leo. So I like that. You have this apple. It says temptation will test you. It's like the temptation of safety is the issue for Leo that I see. Like, and that's what I feel for Leo intuitively, really, and also looking at your astrology. It's like the judgment. It's like there are things that you've been doing for many years, probably, that are safe. And I definitely feel it's time for Leo to, take those risks in work and business and career and whatever you do every single day. And that's what I would do here. You have this Lily card. It says spiritual love. Yeah, if you want love, there could be a spiritual connection coming in for you. Again, not really a love reading, but, there is a little bit here. So if you want it, there you go. You have this pail. It says time to get out of a situation. Yes. Like, the question I want to ask you, Leo, is like, are you cheating yourself out of something? You know, it's like if you have a job and you know you can do more and your boss isn't giving you a raise, you know, can you take the risk of going and looking for something else? I don't know, right? Only you can answer that question, Leo, but I would do it. So this looks pretty good, Leo. I do like it. So thank you for being here. I forgot to say, make sure to like, leave a comment. Really helps me out. But thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.